Service Commission is hereby called to order. Roll call, please.
Ms. Acker? Here. Vice Chairman Koss? And Chairman Ripka?
Here. We received a note from Mr. Koss this morning. He has an urgent matter at work, so he's not going to be attending the meeting. He did review all of the materials and is fine with all the proposed updates and the motion summary from the last meeting. As such, I motion to excuse the absence of Mr. Koss. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Here we go. So we have a motion by Mr. Ripka, a second by Ms. Akers.
Mr. Chairman, if I might just interject, because I think this is Mr. Browning's. Is this your first meeting here?
Yes.
They probably didn't tell you this. You're just kind of a liaison, so you don't, I wouldn't say have to, but I guess get to if you really want to. You don't have to make motions or vote on it.
Oh, okay.
You just kind of report back what happened. So that's not your fault. No one told you. It's like,
That's okay.
Yeah.
We still want you.
We still like it very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, the reason I bring it up now is because if there was a full body and you did vote, it'd be 2-2 sometimes. It could be awkward, so we would stick with odd numbers.
All right. Thank you. Roll call on the motion, please.
Ms. Acker?
Yes.
And Chairman Ripka?
Yes. Mr. Browning, on behalf of everybody here, welcome to the Civil Service Commission.
Thanks
And we look forward to meeting with you, and looking forward to your active participation on the commission.
I'll strive to be a wallflower.
You are allowed to talk and interject. You just don't have to
Would you like
vote.
say a few words. All righty, that's fine. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please read agenda item number 2 into the record.
Approval of the motion summary for the meeting held May 3rd, 2017, as recorded and transcribed.
Okay, you haven't read the motion summary in advance. Does the commission, any commission member wish to initiate further discussion?
No.
If not, do I hear a motion to approve the subject motion summary as recorded and transcribed?
I will make a motion
I will.
to approve this.
And I will second. So we have a motion by Ms. Akers, second by Mr. Ripka. Roll call, please.
Ms. Aker?
Yes.
Chairman Ripka?
Yes. Motion carries. Please read agenda item number 3 into the record.
Update of the firefighter paramedic certified list.
Okay, I yield the floor to Chief Donahue.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Today we're asking to be adding 4 names. Those names are listed, if you look under the list, original list order, they're D1, 2, 3, 4 to the list. These are our newest candidates that took the written test, also the interview process 2 weeks ago, and to remember when we actually did that, and has successfully completed the requirements to be added to the certified list. We are also asking the removal of one candidate, Keith Simon. That removal is as a result of a full-time hiring with us. And actually Keith started full-time with us today, so we're very excited. That leaves us, brings us back up to 60 personnel. And we're allowed 61, and just for your information, we'll be moving forward here in the near future with the assistant fire chief position. My assistant fire chief took a fire chief's job in Union County, so with that we'll be moving forward with in the near future with that position as well. So I just want to provide you an update and ask for the approval of the firefighter certification list.
Okay, I just have a couple little questions, if I may.
Sure.
Column 4 over there talks about part-time.
Yes.
And there's those PTs lodged up against the names. Are those candidates willing to accept part-time positions, or is it more likely that they say they will until they get an offer and they say, no, I really need part-time?
No, actually,
full-time.
they're asked during the interview process if they're interested in full or both. The job become available for them. I can think of only one off the top of my head that has turned down a position with us. Actually, it was Keith Simon that did that. Ultimately got hired full-time with us. The reason why, he was working another part-time job, and when he was interviewing with us, he didn't have any. So typically, when the job's offered to him, they'll accept the job for part-time. But that question, and then when it goes on the list, is a snapshot at that point in time that we ask them. And there's no hardship whatsoever should they say no.
And just to clarify that, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, when he says there's no hardship, if you're on the list and you're offered a part-time and you say, I don't want it, we don't count that as a strike against you or a pass over under the rule that you've probably seen. If you're passed over 3 times, you get bumped off. That does not count as a passover. Is that correct, Chief?
That is correct.
Okay, one last question if I may too, just so I understand it. Apologize for being Gabby, but we have written exams. These are national testing too. Written exams, interview scores, and then there's other plus ups for educational levels and military points, paramedic, etc. So what factors come into play? Last time we had a meeting, we talked about passing over. What other factors come into play when you select somebody below the highest score?
So after the list is certified, there's a group of additional tests, interviews, and so forth that are conducted. Included in that is a psychological test and evaluation. We have an outside company do both a background and financial check on them. We also do a background check from our firefighter standpoint. We do a criminal investigation with them, check their fingerprints and so forth, as well as an interview is conducted by myself and also the city manager. It is through that additional process that we identify where this person ends up fitting in. Also coming into play with this is that some of these people may be part-timers with us as well. So we look at holistically, after the list gets certified, the additional information on who would be the best candidate for the city of Delaware and the
Pretty concrete.
yes.
You got something bad in your background that comes up after that.
Exactly. But there's also soft skills that maybe identify the psychological and firefighter indexes, or just somebody that through the interview process that I just don't see that he would be a good fit. And he may be number one on the candidate. And it's more important for me to make sure I get the right individual for the city of Delaware and Delaware Fire Department than it is to get the number one person.
I agree.
And
There's
then-
more concrete stuff in it than subjectivity. Is what I'm looking at.
Yes.
And I think if you look
fact.
at sort of the way the system is structured, it's kind of built to strike a balance between giving chiefs some subjectivity, but also being fair so they can't just cherry pick anyone they like. And that's why you have the rule of 10 and the rule of 3. So they are constrained within that. So the idea is if you're in that list, you're pretty darn good, and you just got to pick the best one, taking all the factors in consideration. But the chief can't say, oh, this person, I really like it, he's number 50. He is constrained by that list.
A perception thing for the other folks in the workforce. Are you the actual hiring authority, or do you delegate it down?
No, actually, it's actually delegated up. I make a recommendation to the city manager, and by charter, I believe it is.
I thought
They're
I saw
confirming
that,
it
yeah.
is the city manager that is the ultimate hiring authority. So I make a recommendation to him. He conducts an additional interview, and depending on that interview, will determine if that candidate is offered a position with the Delaware Fire Department.
So best overall score does not equal best qualified. Is what
That is correct.
Yeah. I totally understand that. I interviewed one candidate for a job, 5 master degrees. 5. He wasn't selected. No concrete experience where we actually needed. So, thank you, Chief.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Does the commission member have any further questions? Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the firefighter paramedic certified list as presented?
I will make a motion.
And I will second. So we have a motion by Ms. Akers, second by Mr. Ripka. Roll call, please.
Ms. Akers?
Yes.
Chairman Rivka?
Yes, the motion carries. Please read agenda item number 4 into the record.
Update of the police officer certified list.
Okay. I yield the floor to Chief Bijanowski.
Thank you. We have two candidates that are moving off of our list. The first being Travis Elkins. He was added to our list at the May 3rd meeting. He has since been hired off the list as of June 12th, so he is now full-time with us. The other is Joshua Haupt. He has been on the list for 1 year as of June 1st of this year, so he has been moved off by rule.
Aggressive hiring. Do you have anything to add to Chief Donahue's response on passing over?
Yeah, our
I'm assuming you get into the same.
It's
kind of
very
thing
similar.
afterwards.
It's very similar. We have the rule of 10 as well. For us, we hire fewer, so we'll pick the ones we want to do the backgrounds on, and our attrition in background is usually about 50%. But I could say, when you look at the overall score, it's a combination of points, for education, military. It also includes the written test and also the oral interview. So smart people can get through a written test, but in general, I wouldn't say it's 100%. But if you look at the higher interview scores, are some of the ones we tend to look at, because we have a panel of interviewers from the police department, the city, and then a community member, and that combined score, if that person scored high enough, we kind of, when we're done with the interview, we'll all kind of have a discussion. I think you said in our supervisor's interview, and it's very similar. I asked, what were your opinions? What did you like? What did you not like? And so we'll ask, which candidates did you like? Which ones didn't you like? And try and get the input from the community member, the city HR, from our rank and file officers that are on the panel, and we'll take those recommendations. And if we build a list of 3 people that we think are good fits, like Chief Donahue mentioned, and also would be good employees for the city of Delaware, hopefully they end in the top 10, and that's what we'll try to look at first.
I think the process seems pretty strong. You got a national testing, so everything is consistent there, and then you've got your documented rules all the way through. So you can't say there's disparate treatment against anybody coming into the system. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Does any commission member have any further questions?
Nope.
If not, do I hear a motion to accept the police officer certified list as presented?
I will make that motion.
I will second that. We have a motion by Ms. Akers, second by Mr. Ripka. Roll call, please.
Ms. Akers?
Yes.
Chairman Ripka?
Yes. Well, the motion carries. Public comments. Do we have anything from anybody out there on the floor? Thank you, my dear. That's my wife, by the way, Janice.
Oh, I was like, gee, I'm friendly with the audience, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's move on to committee comments. I just have a couple things I want to point out. Station 304, we're actually seeing signs down there. Right? I'm down at Glen Ross and I see, the housing going down. There's only the chimney left over there. So we're pretty excited. I want you to know to actually get a station down in the southeast section.
As we are as well.
Yeah, I mean, to actually have the paramedics and the firefighters literally around the corner is just absolutely fantastic. I just want to pass that on.
And just for a point, that building will also have an office for the police department as well.
Okay.
So I want to make that known as well. We're excited to have them there, and I know you guys will be excited to have additional police presence. But
It's something we've worked on for a while. An opportunity was there to use one of the offices as, we don't necessarily want substations, but having a storefront or an office front is very beneficial. We can keep guys out, and kind of working with the fire department made that possible down in that area.
So when we have like 4th of July parties or Christmas parties, and we have so much food left over, can we feel free to bring them by the station?
I guess this will be recorded, but I say that if you look at my waistline, the firefighters never turn down.
They say a good police officer never goes hungry and never gets wet. So.
That would be great, and we'd love to come down. I believe tomorrow Cheshire Crossing is having a neighborhood block party at the park. So provided we're not on run, we try to get involved and be at those events as well. So we want to be part of that community.
That's great. I think that's outstanding. Visibility in the community is just in my book. One last question for you, Chief. I recently went through the Delaware County EMS program. So this was the only second one they've ever had. They had one and then it disappeared for about 4 years, and then it came back, and it caught my eye. I think I read about it in the Gazette. So I went through the stuff, and I thought it was really interesting. I mean, and they do the CPR training and the emergency services, and you get to see all the stations and talk to all the crew. Did you ever think about doing anything like that?
We have, and I know our police department actually does a police academy. Just held off on doing something pertaining to that, just for the main reason that the city has its own citizens academy, and we end up spending one day at the fire station. So we haven't branched off. We certainly want to provide and support that program, but there may be a time that we want to take it and actually take it a bit further than what we're just doing. So
If you decide, we're
yes.
with you all the way.
Thank you.
Chief Pijanowski, just a couple of things. One is a congratulations to you and your staff
Thank
for the very, very, very successful IPIMBA conference, the 27th Annual International Police Mountain Bike Association. So Delaware City hosted this event right here at home. More than 300 bike officers across 30 states and 3 Canadian provinces. And I think it just went great. From what Bob was telling us, it was just fantastic.
Their attendance was double what it's been, so it was a really good event for the university, the city, and for the organization. It went really well.
Yeah, so I think the city sparkled that day, so congratulations to you and your staff. One last question. Do you publish an annual report?
We don't publish anything. We do, yearly statistical reports that we do in-house, but really the published portion would be in the budget. We pull some of the more significant statistics out and track those year to year and put them inside the budget as part of our work plan and what we look at every year. I think there's a narrative in there that kind of talks about major projects and things.
So if we wanted to see like a dissection of the service calls that are coming into place, it would be in the budget? Get down that low, or?
I have to see if calls for service are in there, but I
Just
think
curious.
one of the things we track are property crimes. We think that's significant because that's tied directly to the drugs in the community. So our focus is on a lot of the drug crimes, and if we are seeing a reduction in the property crimes, we're probably having a good effect on the drug dealers and the drug trade. So I know those things are in there. I think calls for service is in there as well.
Okay, that's good.
I was going to bring a copy of it. I just forgot to grab my budget when I walked out.
That's good. This actually comes from the public out there. The source is smartasset.com, and it reads that Delaware County ranks 9th in the happiest places in America in 2017. Now, we're 20% of that population, right? And there are thousands of counties across the nation. We're sitting there in the top 10.
Wow.
We were number 11 last year, and now we broke into it, so we're number 9. So I just hope our safety workforce is just as happy as that statistic shows. Does any commission member wish to provide any further comments? Okay, there being no
I
further
just have one other
Oh,
thing.
sure.
It's not on the agenda, but I'll forward to Lori and to Jess just for dissemination. We updated our professional development plan, which is formerly known as our succession plan, that was originally done in 2008, 2009. So we'll get that out to you. But since that, we've added the position of lieutenant assistant fire chief, except for one who's grandfathered, all have associate's degrees. So I think it has worked very well, and I thank the commission, I thank HR, our DAS for that. But this is just an update of where we're headed and some of the things that we're looking at to make sure that we keep current and meeting the needs of our personnel, and to ensure that we're bringing personnel up throughout the ranks.
It answers the question, what do I have to do?
It does.
And what do I, so that, and this is a succession and leadership position, what these are.
Correct, all the way from a firefighter coming in, all the way up to fire chief. And again, it's a plan, so there's always flexibility
Sure.
with that, but it's our guiding force of where we're headed.
It's a career path for them. I commend that. I mean, I don't know if organizations have that kind of structure. I think it's great. Okay, so we'll be looking forward to seeing that, Chief.
Thank you.
There being no further business to conduct, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I will second. We have a motion by Ms. Akers, second by Mr. Ripka. Roll call, please.
Ms. Akers?
Yes.
Chairman Ripka?
Yes, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you all.
Just like the council meeting, 20 minutes, right?